Fellas, ever feel like women speak in riddles while you're stuck deciphering ancient scrolls? Well, today's your lucky day. In this video, I'm going to reveal 6 key phrases women use when they're developing feelings for you. These aren't just stray words floating in the wind. No, sir. These are carefully crafted hints, subtle as a feather, but carrying the weight of a freight train. Once you learn to spot these signals, you'll know exactly when a woman's heart is shifting in your direction, without her having to spell it out in skywriting. But here's the catch. You have to listen. I know. Listening is a skill some men treat like an optional upgrade. But trust me, these seemingly casual remarks carry more meaning than a Shakespearean soliloquy. This video is your personal decoder ring to understanding women's hidden messages. And before we dive in, do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Around here, we dissect the psychology of relationships, communication, and personal growth. All tools to help you not just survive the dating world, but thrive in it. Stick around till the end, and I'll throw in a bonus tip that'll take your game to the next level. By the time we're done, you won't just know these phrases. You'll know exactly how to respond, leaving her thinking about you long after the conversation ends. Now, let's get started. The first phrase: I've never told anyone this before. Gentlemen, if a woman ever looks you in the eye and says, "I've never told anyone this before," don't just nod and go back to scrolling on your phone. You've just been handed the equivalent of a secret treasure map, one that leads straight into the depths of her emotions. This isn't just small talk, it's an invitation into her world, a test of trust, and, if handled well, a clear sign that she's developing feelings for you. Now, before you go thinking you've become the town's unofficial therapist, understand what's really happening here. When a woman shares something deeply personal, she's not just being chatty, she's testing the waters. She wants to know 2 things. 1, does she feel safe with you? Women don't go around spilling their inner thoughts to just anyone, not unless they trust that the listener won't laugh at them, judge them, or worse, dismiss their feelings like a salesman waving off a lowball offer. If she's opening up to you, it means she sees you as someone who respects and values her emotions. And that, my friend, is a sign of deeper connection. 2, is there potential for something real? By sharing a piece of her private world, she's giving you an opportunity to meet her at an emotional level. It's her way of saying, here's a part of me I don't show to just anyone. Can you handle it? If you respond well, you pass the test and move up a notch in her heart. If you shrug it off, or heaven forbid, joke about it, you'll find yourself back in the just another guy category faster than you can say relationship potential. From a psychological standpoint, this phrase taps into what experts call emotional vulnerability, a cornerstone of trust and intimacy. Studies show that when people share personal details, it creates a sense of bonding and exclusivity. Translation? She's inviting you into a space where few others are allowed, and if you handle it well, your connection deepens. So, what's the proper way to respond? Well, for starters, listen. And I mean really listen. Put the phone away, resist the urge to crack a joke, and give her your full attention. Then, validate her feelings. Try saying, "That's really brave of you to share. I'm honored that you trust me with that. That means a lot that you'd share this with me." These responses assure her that you're not just hearing her, you're understanding her. Want to take it a step further? Follow up later. If she shared something important, bring it up in a future conversation. This shows that you actually listened and cared enough to remember, a rare skill in today's world of distracted conversations. At the end of the day, when a woman says, "I've never told anyone this before," it's not just a phrase, it's an emotional key, a test of trust, and a quiet confession that she sees you as someone special. If you recognize and respond to it the right way, you're not just making an impression, you're building a connection that could lead to something truly meaningful. The second phrase, "You're so different from other guys." When a woman tells you, "You're so different from other guys," don't just take it as a casual compliment and move on like she just told you your shoes look nice. No, sir, this is no mere flattery. This is a flashing neon sign that she's been paying attention, studying your ways like a detective piecing together a case, and she's decided you stand out. And in the grand competition of modern dating, standing out is half the battle. At its core, this phrase is laced with admiration and curiosity. She's noticed that you do things a little differently. Maybe you're more thoughtful, more confident, or just a little sharper than the usual suspects she encounters. Whatever it is, she likes it, and she wants you to know it. This phrase is her way of signaling that you've left an impression, and in doing so, she's subtly putting you in a different category, one reserved for men who actually matter. Now, before you let your ego run wild, let's break this down. This isn't just a throwaway compliment, it's an evaluation. Women don't compare men for sport. Okay, maybe a little. But when she tells you you're different, it means she's been thinking about you, reflecting on your actions, and considering how you fit into her life. Whether it's your kindness, your sense of humor, or the way you don't fall over yourself trying to impress her, something about you has exceeded her expectations, and that's worth paying attention to. From a psychological standpoint, this phrase taps into selective attention, a fancy way of saying that when someone is interested in you, their brain hones in on the details that make you special. By telling you what makes you unique, she's confirming that you stand out in a sea of options. And in a world where dating can sometimes feel like flipping through an endless menu of forgettable choices, being memorable is a major advantage. So, when she says, "You're so different from other guys," don't fumble the moment. Don't downplay it or deflect it with a joke like, "Yeah, I'm actually an alien," unless you want her thinking you truly are from another planet. Instead, engage with her words. Say something like, "That really means a lot." What makes you say that? This does two things. It deepens the conversation and gives her a chance to elaborate on what she finds attractive about you, which, let's be honest, is always nice to hear. And here's the kicker. Own the compliment with confidence. A man who can accept praise with grace and humility is far more attractive than one who awkwardly brushes it off. So next time she tells you you're different, smile, thank her, and lean into what makes you unique. Because clearly, it's working. The third phrase, "What do you think about?" If a woman turns to you and says, "What do you think about?" don't just take it as idle small talk. This isn't a random question about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. Though, if she asks that, you better be ready for a heated debate. No, sir. This is a test, a subtle but strategic move. She's not just asking for the sake of conversation. She's gathering intel, trying to peer inside your mind like a detective searching for clues. and the moment your opinion starts to matter to her. That's the moment you know she's emotionally invested. See, when a woman asks for your thoughts on something personal or meaningful, relationships, life goals, or those ever dangerous, what are you looking for in a partner? Questions. She's trying to measure your values against hers. She's collecting data, analyzing patterns, and, without you even realizing it, running a silent compatibility test. If she's asking, "What do you think about marriage?" she's not just making conversation. She's gauging if you're the kind of man who dreams of a quiet life with a white picket fence, or one who plans to ride off into the sunset on a Harley. And let's be clear, women don't ask these kinds of questions to men they don't care about. If she felt indifferent toward you, she wouldn't be investing her energy into figuring out how you see the world. That's the key. When she asks what you think, she's signaling that your opinion carries weight, and if your opinion matters, well, my friend, so do you. This phrase also reflects trust. She's letting you in, opening a door to deeper discussions, and testing whether you can handle conversations beyond the usual surface-level chit-chat. And believe me, how you answer can make all the difference. If you shrug it off or give a generic answer like, "I don't know, never thought about it," she'll assume you lack depth. But if you respond thoughtfully, with confidence and sincerity, you'll strengthen the emotional connection without even trying. Psychologically, asking for someone's opinion is a form of validation. When she seeks your input, she's not just looking for an answer. She's looking for reassurance that your thoughts align with hers in some meaningful way. Think of it as an unspoken way of saying, "I respect your perspective, and I want to see if we're on the same page." So, how do you handle it? First, don't rush. Pause for a second, acknowledge her question, and give it some thought. A great response is something like, "That's an interesting question. What made you think of that?" This not only buys you a little time, but also flips the conversation back to her, showing you're engaged and interested. Next, be honest. Women have a sixth sense for sniffing out fake answers, so don't say what you think she wants to hear. Say what you actually believe. And if you're unsure, that's okay too. A confident man can admit when he doesn't have all the answers. Finally, reciprocate. If she asks for your thoughts, return the favor. Ask, "What about you? What do you think?" This keeps the conversation balanced and shows that you value her perspective just as much as she values yours. At the end of the day, this phrase is a gateway to emotional intimacy. When a woman starts asking, "What do you think about?" take it as a sign that she's inviting you into her world. How you respond will determine whether you get to stay. The fourth phrase, "I feel so comfortable around you." When a woman tells you, "I feel so comfortable around you," don't just brush it off like she complimented your new haircut. No, sir. This is a phrase of great importance, a statement wrapped in trust, tied with a bow of emotional safety. It means she's lowered her guard, shed the polite, socially polished version of herself, and is now in the rare and sacred territory of being her true self around you. And let me tell you, that's no small feat. In the early stages of attraction, everyone wears a mask, putting forth the best version of themselves, hoping their quirks remain hidden until it's too late to back out. But when she feels truly at ease, she stops worrying about whether she's saying the right thing, or if you'll judge her for snorting when she laughs. She knows she can be real, and that, my friend, is a sign of emotional connection. This phrase doesn't just mean she likes your company, It means she trusts you. She feels safe in your presence, confident that you won't mock her, dismiss her thoughts, or make her regret opening up. Trust is the currency of deep relationships. And when a woman starts cashing in by sharing her true thoughts, you can bet she sees you as someone worth investing in. But let's not forget compatibility. When she says she's comfortable around you, she's not just talking about trust, she's talking about alignment. Your personalities, communication styles, and energy levels naturally sync up like two musicians who just happen to be playing the same tune. That's chemistry you can't fake. This phrase also ties into emotional contagion, a fancy psychological way of saying your energy influences her energy. If you radiate warmth, positivity, and authenticity, she'll feel safe and relaxed in your presence. And over time, she'll associate you with that good feeling, just like people associate warm cookies with home, or fresh coffee with mornings full of hope. So, how do you respond when she says, "I feel so comfortable around you"? Simple. Appreciate it. Say something like, "That really means a lot to me," or "I'm glad you feel that way." You don't need a grand speech, just an acknowledgement that her comfort matters to you. At the end of the day, comfort is the foundation of emotional intimacy. When a woman tells you she feels safe, it's a sign that you're not just some passing interest. You're someone she trusts, someone she can be herself with. And that, my friend, is where real connection begins. The fifth phrase, "I was thinking about you." When a woman says, "I was thinking about you," she isn't just making small talk. This is a moment of truth wrapped in 6 little words. She's letting you in on a secret. You've taken up real estate in her mind, rent-free. And considering how crowded that mental space is, with work, social obligations, and an uncanny ability to remember the exact words you said 6 months ago, you should consider this a high honor. This phrase isn't just a throwaway remark. It's a subtle confession that you've made an impression. Whether she's mentioning something that reminded her of you, a song, a funny street sign, or a dog wearing sunglasses, it's her way of signaling emotional attachment. People don't think about someone unless they feel some kind of connection, and when she tells you, it means she's testing the waters. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. Psychology calls this emotional anchoring. When a person links positive emotions to someone, their brain starts making a habit of thinking about them. If she felt happy, comforted, or intrigued during your last conversation, guess what? Her brain will remind her of you. And once the mind starts making these connections, you're no longer just another guy. You're someone special. Another reason she shares this? Reciprocity. She's subtly saying, "I matter to you, right? Because you matter to me." It's a gentle nudge, a way of gauging how much space she occupies in your thoughts. If she's tossing the ball into your court, she's hoping you'll toss it back. So, what's the best response? First, don't fumble the moment. Don't shrug it off with a, "Haha, that's cool." That's like dropping a perfectly thrown pass in the end zone. Instead, engage with curiosity. Try, "That's really sweet. What made you think of me?" "I like where this is going. Tell me more." Better yet, reciprocate naturally. If you were thinking about her, say it. And if you weren't, find a shared memory to bring up. That reminds me of that time we insert meaningful moment here. At its core, this phrase is an invitation. She's opening a door for deeper connection. Step through it, and you might just find that she's been waiting for you on the other side. The final phrase, "I've never told anyone this before." When a woman says, "I've never told anyone this before," brace yourself. You've just been handed the golden ticket of trust. This isn't some casual remark tossed around like a coin in a wishing well. No, sir. This is a rare and precious invitation into her inner world, and if you handle it right, it can deepen your bond in ways that no witty pickup line ever could. This phrase usually surfaces in moments of quiet intimacy, when the air between you is charged with something deeper than small talk. It's her way of saying, "You're not just another face in the crowd, you're someone I feel safe with." Women don't take emotional vulnerability lightly, and when she chooses you to open up to, she's not just sharing a story, she's testing the waters. What this phrase really means: 1, it's a trust test, sharing personal experiences, especially the ones kept under lock and key, requires a strong sense of emotional security. If she's telling you something she wouldn't tell just anyone, it's because she feels you won't judge or dismiss her. 2, it's emotional exclusivity. This isn't gossip, this is personal history. She's subtly signaling that you hold a place in her life that others do not, and the deeper the secret, the stronger her feelings likely are. 3, it's a relationship milestone. Vulnerability fosters closeness, and research backs this up. When people share intimate details, it strengthens emotional bonds. So, when she says these words, she's allowing you into her emotional space, and that's no small thing. How should you respond? Rule number 1, don't botch it. This is not the moment to crack a joke, change the subject, or, heaven forbid, pull out your phone to check the latest sports scores. Your best move is simple. Listen. Make eye contact. Nod when appropriate. Say things like, "I really appreciate you sharing that," or "That must have been tough for you." If the moment calls for it, reciprocate. Share something meaningful about yourself, not to one-up her, but to build a bridge of mutual trust. What not to do. Don't give unsolicited advice. Sometimes she doesn't need a solution. She just needs to be heard. Don't minimize it. If she's sharing something important, avoid saying, "Oh, that's not a big deal." To her, it is. Don't make it about you. "That reminds me of the time I..." No, this is her moment. Keep it that way. Why this moment matters when she says, "I've never told anyone this before," she's handing you a key to her trust. If you respond with genuine empathy and care, that key can unlock a deeper, more meaningful connection, one built on mutual understanding, vulnerability, and trust. And let's be honest, isn't that what real relationships are all about? Decoding a woman's subtle language. How to read between the lines without a dictionary. If there's one truth about relationships, it's that women rarely say exactly what they mean, not because they want to confuse you, though let's be honest, sometimes it feels that way, but because emotional communication is more of an art than a science. Women have mastered the craft of indirect communication, often revealing their true feelings through subtle cues, carefully chosen words, and fleeting gestures rather than grand declarations. Why? Because trust, emotional safety, and vulnerability are the foundation of any meaningful connection. And trust, my friend, is not built overnight. It's layered like a good novel, revealing itself chapter by chapter. A woman isn't going to blurt out, "I'm falling for you like a cat off a slippery rooftop," because that would put her heart on the line too soon. Instead, she'll drop hints, testing whether you are perceptive enough to read between the lines, and whether you're someone she can trust with her emotions. The power of recognizing. subtle emotional signals. Understanding a woman's indirect communication is like learning a second language, except instead of vocabulary, you're deciphering body language, tone, and phrasing. Recognizing these subtle cues can help you build deeper connections, prevent misunderstandings, and even avoid accidentally fumbling a great opportunity. When she says something like, "I was thinking about you today," that's not just a stray thought she's tossing into the wind. It's a carefully placed signal, a quiet invitation for you to acknowledge that she's not just thinking about you, but wondering if you were thinking about her too. But before you go off celebrating like you just solved the Da Vinci Code, it's important to know that how you respond matters just as much as recognizing the signals. Here's how to handle these moments without sabotaging the connection. How to respond to her subtle emotional signals. 1. Acknowledge her vulnerability. When she shares something deeply personal, perhaps revealing an insecurity, a past experience, or simply saying, "I've never told anyone this before," she's trusting you with a piece of her emotional world. The wrong move? Brushing it off with a joke or downplaying its importance. Instead, make her feel seen and heard. A simple, "I really appreciate you sharing that with me," or "that means a lot," reassures her that her trust is well placed. Women aren't looking for problem solvers in these moments. They're looking for listeners. Respond with empathy, not indifference. If she says something affectionate, like, "I was thinking about you," don't respond like a distracted sports commentator with, "Oh, cool." Instead, acknowledge it with warmth. Try, "That's really sweet. What made you think of me?" Or, "That means a lot. I was thinking about you too." These responses validate her emotions while also opening the door to a deeper conversation. She's offering you a moment of connection. Don't fumble it by being passive. 3. Encourage deeper conversations when she asks, "What do you think about?" It's not just idle chit-chat. She's inviting you into her mental and emotional world. She wants to see if your values align, if you can have meaningful conversations, and if you actually think about things beyond what's for dinner. Take the opportunity to ask open-ended questions. Instead of giving short, dry answers, keep the conversation flowing by asking, "That's a great question. What about you?" Or, "I've never thought about that before, but I'd love to hear your perspective." This creates a sense of mutual interest, rather than just making her feel like she's conducting an interview. 4. Reciprocate emotional sharing. If she opens up about something personal, don't leave her out in the cold. Share something in return. If she says, "I've never told anyone this before," you might respond with, "That really means a lot that you trust me with that. I actually have something I've never shared before either." Reciprocity strengthens trust. It tells her that she's not alone in her vulnerability, and that you're just as invested in building this emotional connection. What not to do? Common mistakes that kill connection. Just as there's a right way to respond, there are also some classic mistakes that can shut down emotional connection faster than a cold draft in winter. 1. Dismissing or downplaying her emotions. If she shares something vulnerable and you respond with, "Oh, that's no big deal," or "That's nice, congratulations," you've just invalidated her feelings. If she trusts you enough to open up, take it seriously. 2. Getting defensive. If she expresses an insecurity or deep affection, don't panic and push it away. Responses like, "Why are you saying that?" or "Why do you care so much?" create emotional distance. Instead, Be open and accepting. 3. Overwhelming her with too much emotion. Too fast. If she shares something personal, don't drown her in your own emotional life story all at once. Let her set the pace. Respond thoughtfully and let the conversation breathe. Turning knowledge into action. Observing and adapting. Now that you understand the psychology behind these subtle phrases, it's time to apply this knowledge in real conversations. Pay attention to how she talks, what phrases she uses, and the emotions behind her words. Is she dropping hints that she's emotionally invested? Are her actions aligning with her words? But here's the key. Don't overanalyze everything. Women don't want to feel like they're being studied under a microscope. Instead, let things unfold naturally while remaining present and engaged. Final thoughts. Building deeper emotional bonds. By recognizing the hidden emotions behind a woman's words, you gain an unspoken advantage in creating stronger, more meaningful connections. Trust, emotional safety, and authenticity are the foundation of every lasting relationship. And the way you listen, respond, and reciprocate will determine how deep that connection grows. So the next time she subtly says, "I was thinking about you," or reveals a piece of her emotional world with, "I've never told anyone this before," don't just hear the words. Hear what she's really saying. That's how you build trust. That's how you create emotional intimacy. And that's how you become unforgettable. If this video helped you see things differently, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others who could use this insight. Stay tuned for more psychology-backed relationship advice. I'm Head King. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.